Let's imagine a new economic system, because our world is in the biggest crisis in its history. A new model that doesn't just exist in our dreams, but that can become a real thing. Imagine for a moment that the rules of the game change, that society is set up in a different, fairer, and more equal way for everyone. Let's imagine a world with full employment, good times for everyone, and a warm welcome for all immigrants. It's a dream many of us share. Don't you think it's possible? Why not? We have a brain that could get us to the moon. A brain that could create the amazing device you're holding right now. So why couldn't we create a new economic system? Our brains give us the power to design a new system where the economy works for everyone, no matter where they come from, their age, or their social status. Where everyone, even those with disabilities, has the chance to help out and receive, to grow and do well with others. Where good times aren't just for a few, but a basic right for every person. A place where everyone doing well together is more important than just one person doing well, and where happiness is shared. Let's design a new economic model without the burden of taxes. Those awful taxes that punish business owners, savers, traders, or even just travelers. We should be able to design a new tax system where people's hard-earned money isn't touched, where people can enjoy the fruits of their labor without fear of losing what they've gained. Sounds like a dream, doesn't it? But sometimes, dreams can lead us to new realities. But what if I told you it's possible? In our other videos, we've looked at new ideas and models that can change how we live and work, if we're brave enough to explore them together. This new system is based on working together, not competing. On helping each other, trusting each other, and building support networks that let us move forward as a community. It's based on the idea that we all deserve a good life, no matter what our situation is. That if one person is doing well, we all are, and that together we can get through anything. A world where there's work for everyone, where every effort is valued and rewarded, and where wealth is shared fairly so no one gets left behind. A world where immigration isn't a problem, but a chance to make our culture and society richer. Where every new person brings their talents and their story, and together we build something bigger. This system isn't some impossible dream, it's the result of being creative, trying new things, and wanting to change what's not working. It's a real possibility, based on new ideas and the desire to build a better future. A future where technology and people work together to create solutions that last and are fair. We need to start by thinking about private property. Private property is a basic right protected by our Constitution. But in real life, this right is often broken, both by the government and by local towns. Why does the government get involved in our lives and stick its nose into our property? The answer is because they need to collect taxes. Every month, millions of citizens see part of their money go to taxes. This process, which many see as legal theft, every time you buy or sell, every time you want to start a business, every time you want to save money, every time you want to travel, the government charges you a tax, breaks the basic right to private property. This terrible practice makes us wonder, how much can the government get involved in our lives? These taxes are often seen as a way of taking our private property, so they should go away. But the government's involvement doesn't stop there. Local towns also control our property. From rules about building materials to how many bathrooms a house can have, fees, permits, local rules can seem like too much. These rules, even though they're often for safety and public order, can limit how much freedom owners have to decide how to use their property. In both cases, all the paperwork becomes a hurdle that many people have to deal with. The feeling that the government and local towns are sticking their noses into our lives is becoming more common. It's important that, as citizens, we question these actions and stand up for our right to private property. The talk about balancing public interest and individual rights is more important than ever. Well, we already know that all taxes punish hard-working, saving, and business-owning people, and they're also completely harmful. But then, how do we pay for public services? Thanks to Google Earth, we can see that around all the cities in the world, there are huge amounts of empty land that don't pay taxes. This is definitely a problem that hurts the local economy and city growth. So, putting in place a policy to collect taxes on these lands could have several big benefits. More tax money. These new funds could be used to get rid of all the taxes that hurt people and in turn make public services, infrastructure, or social programs in the city better. Encouraging development. Taxing empty land could make its owners want to build, sell, or use it for something useful, which would boost the economy and the real estate market. Better land use. It could help use city land more efficiently, stopping people from holding on to land just to make money and helping the city grow in a more organized and lasting way. Cities would have wide streets and big lots. Now, how much should be paid for each empty lot per year? In an earlier video, we had looked at how the minimum tax for an empty lot around cities should be $200 a year. Imagine all the millions of empty lots that don't pay anything today. And that's exactly what allows these lots to stay empty for generations and generations. That's millions and millions of dollars that the government and local towns leave in the hands of big landowners and people who just want to make quick money. This is how we can get rid of all the taxes that punish people and replace them with a tax that's only on the pure value of the land, not on people's private property. Just imagine not having to pay taxes on your salary, your purchases, or your savings. Being able to enjoy the fruits of your labor without the burden of those awful taxes. In this new system, that would be a reality. Income tax, sales tax, property tax, all gone. The tax pressure disappears forever. With a single tax on land, it would be possible to fund all public services, healthcare, education, and infrastructure. With a single tax on land, this way, it would be possible to get rid of all the red tape. This single tax doesn't affect your hard work or individual effort. It doesn't touch your savings. It doesn't care about the things you buy. It doesn't count how many bathrooms your house has or how many floors your building has, but only the value of the most basic natural resource, the land. In this new system, migration wouldn't be seen as a threat, but as a chance to grow. Cities would compete to bring in new people. Borders would open to welcome those looking for a better future, with hope and respect. Migrants who now wander the world because they're denied land, just like locals, would be welcomed with open arms, given the same chances as citizens. They would have access to jobs, homes, schooling, and healthcare, without being treated unfairly. This openness to the world would make society better in every way. It would bring new ideas, cultures, talents, and ways of thinking that would drive progress and new inventions. A world without borders is a more human world, fair and rich for everyone. Imagine a system where the wealth of the land is shared equally among all citizens. This system is funded by a single, simple, and direct tax, applied only to the pure value of the land, not to the buildings or improvements made on it. This isn't your traditional property tax. It's a tax that understands that the value of the land comes from the community and its surroundings, not from what one person does. So those who own land contribute fairly to the well-being of everyone. The money collected goes to important public services like education, healthcare, and infrastructure. This helps everyone in society and makes sure no one gets left behind. In short, it's a fair and clear tax that everyone can understand. It doesn't allow for hidden special favors or tax dodging, like those schemes we sometimes see. There's a set fee, $200 per acre of rural land and $200 for each urban lot of 500 square meters. This fee is clear, easy to predict, and simple to put into practice. It's also the best way to make sure people's private property rights are protected. The only official document to prove legal ownership of land would be the property deed registered at the Land Registry Office. We really need to stress this point, because in this crazy, messy world where land is seen as something really valuable, what would happen if we made a big change in how we handle the legal side of empty lots? With a single tax of $200 a year on each empty lot, as defined by the land records, this tax, even though it's small, could change how we think about legal land ownership. Right now, courts are swamped, and most legal arguments are about empty lots and unused land. But what if we got rid of these fights? By putting this tax in place, owning unused land wouldn't be so appealing. Owners would have a reason to build on or sell their lots, instead of leaving them empty for generations. This would not only greatly reduce the burden on the courts, but also help economic growth and bring life back to all communities. Imagine a future where every empty lot becomes a chance. A place for homes, businesses, or green spaces. A place where the community thrives and legal arguments become a thing of the past. The idea of a tax on empty lots isn't just new, it's needed. It could be the key to solving problems and making our cities better places to live. In conclusion, a $200 a year tax on each empty lot could be the answer we need to lessen legal burdens, speed up justice, and also bring cities back to life. And as already said, the property deed registered at the Land Registry Office would be the only valid document to prove legal ownership of land. It doesn't matter if the land has a building, is empty, or is being developed. The fee is the same for everyone. This makes things fair and stops problems in the real estate market. This tax has many good things about it, not just legal ones that make it especially good for a modern and fair society. First, it's easy to figure out and collect. This means less paperwork and lower costs for the government and for people. Second, it encourages smart use of land. Owners will want to develop empty or underused land, making cities more lively and sustainable. It also stops people from just holding on to empty land to make it more valuable later, like those who leave lots empty just for the price to go up. This helps cities improve and create public spaces, making life better for everyone who lives there, just like the Ibirapuera Park or Lagoa in Rio. Also, by not taxing work or investments, it helps create jobs and boosts the economy. This lets people and businesses do well without unnecessary burdens. If you think about it, we could also get rid of all those unfair fines. Right now, fines in our country are too much, punishing thousands of people who are trying to do what's right. But with a new tax system that focuses on land and not on people, we make sure every landowner can contribute fairly, without the stress and unhappiness that fines cause. Remember the video where we suggested a tax of just $200 a year for an empty lot? That amount is affordable, and more importantly, it doesn't include fines. If an owner can't pay for 5 years, the land would go to someone else. This way, both the state and the city would have steady and predictable income, while people would be free from the burden of fines. Plus, it would encourage the use of land that's currently sitting empty, helping our cities grow and become lively again. With this new system, cities would compete to attract new citizens, not just with economic perks, but also with the quality of life they offer. Cities would work hard to offer the best public services, efficient and affordable public transport, like a top-notch subway, parks and green spaces, high-quality cultural and sports facilities, just like in first world countries. The competition would be a good thing, since it would drive innovation in city management, like the Pupa Tempo in Sao Paulo, and a constant search for ways to improve citizens' lives, like the Zero Hunger program. Cities would become more livable, sustainable, safe, and attractive places to live, work, and enjoy life, just like a carnival out of season. Cultural diversity would be a big part of this new system. Cities would become lively mosaics, where people from different backgrounds and cultures live together in peace, like a true melting pot. This mix of cultures would make society better in every way. From food to music, and even art and fashion, and how we think, diversity would bring new ideas and ways of looking at things. Different cultures living together would help us be more accepting, respectful, and understanding of people from different backgrounds. This would make armies and wars unnecessary, creating a more peaceful, fair, and equal society. Thanks to the single land tax, city halls would have enough money to pay for good public services for all citizens. The public health system would be even better, with modern hospitals, with the newest technology, and health workers who are well trained and paid fairly. Public education, from daycare to university, would be free and high quality, like a top-notch education system. We would put money into modern school buildings, good teachers, and new ways of teaching. Social help would also be stronger, making sure older people, people with disabilities, and families who need help are taken care of. In this new system, every home could become a place of opportunity. Without taxes on economic activity, starting your own business would be encouraged right from your home. No more permits, taxes for self-employed people, or red tape. Anyone could open their own business at home, with freedom and flexibility. This would lead to an explosion of creativity and new ideas, with new businesses and ways of working popping up in homes. A lively and varied business scene would be created, driven by individual talent and initiative. As you can see, a future with a new economic model, where prosperity and happiness are within everyone's reach, is possible. A future where every person can dream and achieve their dreams without red tape and without the terrible taxes, and where, together, we make the impossible happen. A future where respect for private property is a cornerstone of our freedom. We must be aware of how public policies can affect this right and fight for a system that respects our decisions as property owners. If you liked the video, I invite you to share it. If you want to learn more about the topic, we have several videos about it. I invite you to watch them. See you next time, friends!